Lodoicea, commonly known as the sea coconut, coco de mer, or double coconut, is a monotypic genus in the palm family. The sole species, Lodoicea maldivica, is endemic to the islands of Praslin and Curieuse in the Seychelles. It formerly also was found on the small islets of St Pierre, Chauve-Souris and Ile Ronde, all located near Praslin, but has become extinct there. The name of the genus, Lodoicea, is derived from a Lodoicus, the Latinized form of Louis, in honor of King Louis XV of France. Description: the tree grows to 25 to 34 meters tall. The leaves are fan-shaped, 7 to 10 meters long and 4.5 meters wide with a 4 meters petiole. It is dioecious, with separate male and female plants. The male flowers are catkin-like, up to 1 meter long. The mature fruit is 40 to 50 centimeters in diameter and weighs 15 to 30 kilograms, and contains the largest seed in the plant kingdom. The fruit, which requires 6 to 7 years to mature and a further 2 years to germinate, is sometimes also referred to as the sea coconut, love nut, double coconut, coco fess, or Seychelles nut. While the functional characteristics of Lodoicea are similar to other trees of monodominant forests in the humid tropics, its unique features include a huge seed, effective funneling mechanism, and diverse community of closely associated animals. These attributes suggest a long evolutionary history under relatively stable conditions. Of the 6 monospecific endemic palms in Seychelles, Lodoicea is the only true case of island gigantism among Seychelles flowering plants, a unique feature of Seychelles vegetation. It holds 3 botanical records. The largest fruit so far recorded weighed 42 kilograms, the mature seeds weighing up to 17.6 kilograms of the world's heaviest, and the female flowers are the largest of any palm. Of the 6 endemic palms, it is the only dioecious species, with male and female flowers located on different plants. Habit: Lodoicea is robust, solitary, up to 30 meters tall, with an erect, spineless stem which is ringed with leaf scars. The base of the trunk is of a bulbous form, and this bulb fits into a natural bowl, or socket, about 2.5 feet in diameter and 18 inches in depth, narrowing towards the bottom. This bowl is pierced with hundreds of small oval holes about the size of a thimble, with hollow tubes corresponding on the outside through which the roots penetrate the ground on all sides. Never, however, becoming attached to the bowl, they are partially elastic, affording an almost imperceptible but very necessary play to the parent stem when struggling against the force of violent gales. Leaves: the crown is a rather dense head of foliage with leaves that are stiff, palmate up to 10 meters in diameter and petioles of 2 to 4 meters in length. The leaf is plicate at the base, cut 1/3 or more into segments 4 to 10 centimeters broad with bifid end, which are often drooping. A triangular cleft develops at the petiole base. The palm leaves form a huge funnel that intercepts particulate material, especially pollen, which is flushed to the base of the trunk when it rains. In this way, Lodoicea improves its nutrient supply and that of its dispersal limited offspring. Flowers: the clusters of staminate flowers are arranged spirally and are flanked by very tough leathery bracts. Each has a small bracteole, 3 sepals forming a cylindrical tube, and a 3-lobed corolla. There are 17 to 22 stamens. The pistillate flowers are solitary and borne at the angles of the rachis and are partially sunken in it in the form of a cup. They are ovoid with 3 petals as well as 3 sepals. It has been suggested that they may be pollinated by animals such as the endemic lizards which inhabit the forest where they occur. Pollination by wind and rain are also thought to be important. Only when Lodoicea begins to produce flowers, which can vary from 11 years to 45 or more. Is it possible to determine the sex of the plant? The nectar and pollen are also food for several endemic animals, e.g., bright green geckos, white slugs and insects. Inflorescence. Inflorescences are interfoliate, lacking a covering spathe and shorter than the leaves. The staminate inflorescence is catkin-like, 1 to 2 meters long and generally terminal and solitary. Sometimes 2 or 3 catkins may be present. The pistillate inflorescences are also 1 to 2 meters long, unbranched, and the flowers are borne on a zigzagging rachia. Fruit. The fruit is bilobed, flattened, 40 to 50 centimeters long, ovoid and pointed, and contains usually 1 but occasionally 2 to 4 seeds. The epicarp is smooth and the mesocarp is fibrous. The endosperm is thick, relatively hard, hollow and homogeneous. The embryo sits in the sinus between the 2 lobes. During germination, a tubular cotyledonary petiole develops that connects the young plant to the seed. The length of the tube is reported to reach about 4 meters. In the Valley-de the tube may be up to 10 meters long. Lodoicea was once believed to be a sea bean, a drift seed. A seed evolved to be dispersed by the sea. However, it is now known that the viable nut is too dense to float, and only rotted out nuts can be found on the sea surface, thus explaining why the trees are limited in range to just 2 islands. Habitat. Lodoicea inhabit rainforests where there are deep, well-drained soils and open exposed slopes, although growth is reduced on such eroded soils. History and mythology. Formerly, Lodoicea was known as Maldive coconut. Its scientific name, Lodoicea maldivica, originated before the 18th century when the Seychelles were uninhabited. In centuries past, the coconuts that fell from the trees and ended up in the sea would be carried away eastwards by the prevailing sea currents. The nuts can only float after the germination process, when they're hollow. In this way, many drifted to the Maldives, where they were gathered from the beaches and valued as an important trade and medicinal item. This association is reflected in one of the plant's archaic botanical names, Lodoicea calipige cum. XJ. St. Hill, in which calipige is from Greek words meaning beautiful buttocks. Other botanical names used in the past include Lodoicea secellarum label, and Lodoicea sonoraceae Bale, until the true source of the nut was discovered in 1768 by de Fresnay. It was believed by many to grow on a mythical tree at the bottom of the sea. European nobles in the 16th century would often have the shells of these nuts polished and decorated with valuable jewels as collectibles for the private galleries. The coco de mer tree is now a rare and protected species. Uses. The species is grown as an ornamental tree in many areas in the tropics, and subsidiary populations have been established on Insular islands in the Seychelles to help conserve the species. The fruit is used in Ayurvedic medicine and also in traditional Chinese medicine. In food, it is typically found as flavor enhancers for soups in southern Chinese cuisine, namely cuisine around the Canton country. The tough outer seed coat has been used to make bowls. One coco de mer nut can make 2 bowls fixed with wooden handle and with a cover is used to carry water. Taxonomy. Lodoicea belongs to the Coryphoidae subfamily and tribe Boraceae. Boraceae is represented by 4 genera in Madagascar and 1 in Seychelles out of the 7 worldwide. They are distributed on the coastlands surrounding the Indian Ocean and the existing islands within. Boracis, the genus closest to Lodoicea, has about 5 species in the Old World, 1 species in Africa, 1 in India, Southeast Asia and Malaysia, 1 in New Guinea and 2 species in Madagascar. Threats. The seeds of Lodoicea have been highly prized over the centuries. The rarity caused great interest and high prices in royal courts, and the tough outer seed coat has been used to make bowls and other instruments. The history of exploitation continues today, and the collection of nuts has virtually stopped all natural regeneration of populations with the exception of the introduced population on Seychelles.It. This palm has been lost from the wild from 3 Seychelles islands within its former range. Habitat loss is one of the major threats to the survival of remaining populations. There have been numerous fires on the islands of Praslin and Curieuse, and only immature trees remain over large parts of these islands. Conservation. The Seychelles is a World Heritage Site, and a third of the area is now protected. The main populations of Lodoicea are found within the Praslin and Curieuse national parks, and the trade in nuts is controlled by the Coco de Mer Decree of 1995. Fire breaks also exist at key sites in an effort to prevent devastating fires from sweeping through populations. Cultivated palms are grown on a number of other islands and are widely present in botanic gardens, although the collection of seeds in order to recruit these populations may be a further threat to the remaining natural stunts. Conservation priorities of the continued protection of populations, enforcement of regulations and effective fire control. In India, the species is extinct in wild. The only known specimen is in the Botanical Garden of Kolkata, maintained by Botanical Survey of India. It was successfully artificially pollinated